This is Terrence Andre Banks with Information Age Financial Solutions, coming to you with an article I got from Yahoo. It's kind of picking up on the pension crisis that's just really unfolding right now. And I've done numerous videos on it. And as it continues to unfold and continues becoming such a heated problem, and is the biggest in our lifetime, especially for this generation, the generations coming further, is so relevant and so important to put so much emphasis on it. And so I came across this article again from Yahoo. As always, I put the link inside the description. GE's pension freeze puts a spotlight on America's retirement planning problem. Now, they're just highlighting as a problem, but it's really a crisis. And I'm going to play probably an excerpt from the video that they have in here just so you get a little bit more familiar with it. But it's just, as I can't stress enough, pensions affect everyone because it's such a large population. Your grandmother, your family, friends, your uncle, me, my father, my father-in-law. It's just so many people affected by that. And once these things become much more mainstream, it's really time to be concerned and really get your mind and get these individuals geared up for what's going to take place. All right, so I'm going to dive right into the article. The news that General Electric was freezing its pension for 20,000 workers this week and offering buyouts to 100,000 former employees sent the company's beleaguered stock up slightly, but delight the two fierce blows to two great American institutions. The first, GE itself, an American staple and iconic industrial company, has employed hundreds of thousands, if not millions. What makes this so striking is that GE is just, they just say, it's an iconic industrial company. And I can't imagine Tom Emerson, his company that he said, will be going to these particular straits. But just the times that we're living in. And they employed so many different people. So it would be, most people wouldn't even conceive of this problem going on to this effect. But it is. And I'll repeat it again. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people were employed by GE of American over the years and paid benefits. Loyalty to its workforce showed yet another flicker, like the incandescent bulbs it famously made. The second, the American pension. It's no secret the private sector pension is on its last breaths. Over the past 20 years, the percentage of Fortune 500 companies that offer traditional pension plan has fallen from 59% to 16%, according to Willis Towers Watson. Pension plan freezes have been on the rise as well. For the entire workforce, only 4% of today's workforce has access to a traditionally defined benefit pension plan, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. But the fact that GE, the shining example of a one company for life, is shelving the practice and pushing the existing employees into 401ks is one of the last nails in the coffin for the retirement planning option. Similar corporate titans like IBM and Boeing ceased pensions in the 2000s. In the post-pension world, the risk shifts to the employee. Pensions and 401ks both provide means to save for retirement and to pay money out, but the way they accrue money has one key difference. Who owns the risk and responsibility of investment management? For a pension, this is when it gets really interesting, not only just because GE, but for a pension, the company and employee pay into a pool of money. Then the company invests that money in hopes that it's enough to pay defined benefits when the employee retires. If the company isn't a successful investor and the money in the portfolio doesn't grow enough, the company has to pay the difference out of its own profits. According to JP Morgan Asset Managers, the last 10 years have been seeing the funding of top pensions drop from over 100% assets to liabilities to around 84%. For a 401k, however, the individual takes on all the risks. They must do all the investing and administrative work, and they must hope the market gods smile down on them, and that the amounts that they decide they can take out every month are enough to live on, but not too much so they run out. I love charts. Who do the great chart here. You see here. With the death of the pension comes a great big hole in the American concept of retirement. A hole leaves stress and uncertainty. Companies have been providing towards 401k plans for quite some time, and as it's much less costly. In many respects, it makes a lot of sense, particularly because it's portable. Workers don't stay at one company the entire working lives anymore. They jump around and need a retirement framework with savings that can follow them. A long life is now a risk. A long life is now a risk. As Brookings Fellow and pension expert Mark Ivory Erie has noted, longevity risk of outliving your savings presents an extremely challenging dilemma. How can you use a life expectancy table when there's a 50% chance you'll end up on the wrong side? The 401k and IRA plans may offer people means to mimic what pensions have done in the past, but in addition to placing the risk on investment failure on employees and retirees, they also place the work in their glory years. Pensions were ingrained into company culture. In the case of GE, the company's famously generous pension was sometimes a key reason people choose to work there. Contrast this with today. Many companies offer 401k plans, and many of them even automatically enroll employees into them and match contributions up to a point. But the default amounts are generally small, say 3%. That means that it's entirely up to the individual to decide to invest more. Though the how is often made easy by target date funds, the risk rests squarely with the employee. The 401k shortcomings aren't currently being addressed in any meaningful way in Washington. I'll repeat that again. The 401k shortcomings aren't currently being addressed in any meaningful way in Washington. Through the encouragement of 401k, automatic enrollments, and government's efforts to motivate people to save, like the Savers Credit, have helped plug the hole in the past. In 2017, one of these programs, the MyRA, which was billed as a retirement plan for anybody, was phased out by the Trump administration, which cited limited demand. That's not to say there aren't solutions being proposed, though they rightly have a terrible reputation in many cases. Some experts, like Erie, see some sort of consumer protected annuity as a potential answer. But for that to work, there will need to be a widespread encouragement of these products to create the demand required to have competitive prices and features. But this doesn't exist yet. Until then, Americans who someday hope to stop working have to live with the difficulties and stick with the model in place. They pay, they work, they hope. So this is the time that we live in. Pay, work, and hope. But at least Yahoo was pointing out to the problem that we're having and stating that this is really a hope that this thing can work. Again, we haven't had a correction yet. And the longer it takes to happen, the worse the situation gets. And these pension plans are having problems now, as I talked about before, when the market is completely up on the numbers that hasn't been seen in ever. Then what's to say what happens when it does correct and things start to crash? If this video has been any value to you, please subscribe, hit the like button, leave some comments. Until my next video, I'm out.